Yes, I'm at the peaceful protest rally at Irvine,
Oh, is it our
and the
turn?
sign is getting all the attention today, as you could probably figure. Is the one the ladies are carrying.
Oh, yeah, that's
Honk if you think Trump is a moron. Well, there you hear it. That one by far and away is the most popular. Hopefully you are enjoying your Sunday wherever you may be. And that is what is going on here in Irvine, California.
That's Craig. I'm David. Okay. And now you know where we're at. I'm not sure if it's the front porch or the back porch, or
It
is
doesn't
this a
even look like a
veranda,
porch.
a sweeping thing around the whole house? Who knows? Sometimes we stumble on the steps. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, anymore, right?
We're here, though. Good morning. How are you? I'm David, and you know who he
And I'm
is.
Craig.
Yeah, remember, he's Craig.
We're on the virtual virtual porch.
Did I do that right? Does he look this way or that way? I don't know. I see
Well,
that on the
that's
Wizard of Oz.
I
Sometimes
have
I
to
go
point
that way.
opposite. I
Sometimes
realize it's like looking in a mirror.
Me?
No, I know it goes backwards, right?
A little bit. All right. Wow, a lot going on out there, huh? Phew,
Oh,
crazy
you
stuff.
think?
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Anybody seen
Yeah.
any good movies lately? Oh, speaking of movies, our good Robert De Niro. I say that because I love this guy as an actor. I love him as an activist. I love him as a human being.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about him and his character as a human being. If you've been paying attention to him, folks, which I hope you have, especially you artists out there, he's calling attention to our plight. It's coming.
Yeah.
Because remember something, censorship begins with us, the arts. They're going to stifle the media, which they're doing.
Yeah.
And then they're going to try to stifle the arts. Because if we don't do things for the Führer, it won't be acceptable.
Yeah.
And the Führer can go suck his toe for all I care. Okay. And I'm talking about you know who. Come on. Trump or chump or dump or bump or anything you want to call him. What do you like to call him, Craig?
I don't think it's appropriate for here.
Why not? What? Piece of shit? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, we can leave it. We can leave it at that. Sure.
Okay. That's part of what's going on, I think, with right now, and I'm a little concerned about. I keep hearing a lot of people always asking questions. Well, why are they doing this? Why is he doing that? Why can't they do it? Folks, I think at this point in time, we're past the questions as to why is he doing this and why not and how can he do. He's doing it. Doesn't matter why, how, or anything else. It's kind of like sitting in your house and all of a sudden your neighbor across the street just starts shooting at you. Do you care what? He's shooting at you. You duck. You call the cops. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think it's a time to take action. That's why I like what Robert De Niro said. He's calling attention to all of us who make films, who create art, who have comedy acts. You have to stand up to what's going on. It is not acceptable, period. That brings to mind something Craig and I were talking about. You know what's going on with Supreme Court, right, Craig?
Say again, please. Oh, yeah. Supreme Court, yes.
What? Tell us what's happening.
The birthright citizenship. Is that what you're bringing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what are they doing? I mean,
Well,
what's happening?
Trump is trying to do away with that, and also, I mean, that's going on right now today. If that's what you're referring to, but that is being tried right now in the Supreme Court as we are broadcasting this.
Now, here's something that's crazy about this. How can a law that is the law of the land, that's written into the Constitution, which is the law of the land, there's no question there as to whether it's legal or valid. It is. Simply put, it is the law of the land. End of issue. So how could this law now that's been tried? Oh, by the way, back in the 1870, I think it's 1873, I'm not sure, somewhere around there, this law was actually tested then. And the Supreme Court said absolutely. It was a Chinese gentleman who was born here in the United States and then went back to China to visit family, do some things. And on the way back, he was denied entry into the United States and said, "No, you're Chinese. You can't come here, man. You're an immigrant. You're illegal." And he said, "No, I was born right there, man, in the United States, and you have to let me back." And he sued him under the 14th Amendment, and guess what? He won. This has been case settled since the 1870s. End of issue. So there is no contest here. And this is what's bothering me. All these questions about, well, what? No, there's no question. It is the law of the land. And here's what really bothers me. Trump and those other people who are helping him all swore to uphold the Constitution, which, by the way, incorporates the 14th Amendment, which is what we're discussing, birthright citizenship. They swore allegiance to that Constitution. They made an oath saying that they will support and defend the Constitution, not just parts of it, whichever works for them, but the entire Constitution, period, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And now, this same law, the same Constitution that allows them to even be holding the office they're holding, they want to come and challenge the very provisions that they swore to uphold. There is no time for questions. There's only time for action. And I believe impeachment is the process. Here's what's interesting, for me anyway. Everybody gets all feathered up and wants to get in everybody's face and let's storm the Capitol. We're not like that. We're not like those idiots who stormed the Capitol. Those two-faced Republicans, MAGA, maggots. We're not like that. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in our system of government, in our institutions, our judicial institutions. So we're going to do it the right way. We're going to dethrone them all, taking over the House. Let's get the Congress, the representatives, the House of Representatives. Then let's get the Senate, and we'll take the Congress. Boom. And we'll kick them out. And we'll kick Trump out. Trump's only in office for one reason, because he didn't want to go to prison. That's it. No other reason. And so now while he's in there, he's just going to do whatever he wants to try to make sure he doesn't have to go to prison when he gets out of office. And that's his goal. Everything else in between doesn't matter. Greedy son of a bitch is going to do whatever he can to rape and pillage as much as possible. He is a detriment to this country. He's a detriment to democracy and to the Constitution. And I can't sit here and passively talk about, well, what can we do? Well, the first thing we can do is flood all of your representatives. I've been calling them, leaving messages, even though I get there. Oh, you have to, there's somebody will get to, I know they're not going to get back to me. Write them letters. Your representatives will sue them. We will get him impeached. We will take over the Senate and threaten them with their paychecks, because that's how they make money. Right now, every one of those people are manipulating the stock market hand over fist because they know what's coming. They're going to try to make as much personal money right now by raping the country, so that when they get taken out of office, which they know they will, they'll have a nest egg, something to fall back on. And then they'll just go off into, Trump land, MAGA maggot garbage can, where everybody gets together. And it's just that life is beautiful. Oh, and there'll be and they'll have new people there, Afrikaners. Oh, yay, we're so excited. We got all these beautiful Afrikaners coming in here. Oh, imported bigot racists. Oh, geez. Oh, but they were getting killed. Those poor people were getting killed, Craig. They were getting killed. Not like the ones in Gaza or in the Congo or anybody like that. They weren't being slaughtered, the babies and everybody. Were they being killed? Were they being just massively slaughtered? Or were they being depossessed of the property that they stole? And in the fighting to maintain possession of the illegal lands they had, they lost their lives. Well, you can interpret things any way you want, right, Craig? I mean, let's think about this for a minute, folks. Let's pretend we're all just Trumpers. What the hell, huh? We're going to take what we want, when we want, how we want. Am I right, Craig? God damn it.
Pretty much.
Hey, if I'm overboard, too bad. Change the channel. Or whatever. Don't look at us. Hey, I don't have a problem with that. In the morning, you should see me. I avoid myself in the mirror. Okay. Anyway, all right, enough of me. Craig, what's on your mind?
No, you said it well, man. I'm just going to say, hey, I'm with this guy. No, I mean, right on, David. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Just straight up, man. As you're going along, trying to think, okay, where can I fill in the blanks? What is David overlooking there? I think we can touch on the Middle East. Trump flies into the Middle East, going to be getting a $4 million plane. I don't see anything fundamentally wrong with that. That's a nice gift. It's a big deal. I mean, you have a jihadist who's now acting president of Syria, a big, strong, good-looking guy. I mean, can this be any more jacked up than it is? I mean,
well, come on. You can't blame Trump. He's always looking for lovers. He's been doing that all his life. He's never been faithful to any of his wives or not even his children. He once said that if his daughter, it wasn't his daughter, he'd be jumping on her bones, hanging on her at 13 and shit. He's a pig. So come on. These are just new lovers. That's all. He sat right next to that man and said, "Oh, I just love him. I love him too much, I think." Oh, gushing and gawing about him and shit, man. I thought he was going to kiss him or drop his drawers or fall on his knees or something. I don't know, man. Trump, a sloppy ass guy. Look at him. You never know. And come on, who was his buddy? Who was his buddy? The good guy who hung himself in prison in the old jailhouse. Who was that?
And there's a good reason why the Epstein papers haven't been released, even though
exactly Trump's in them.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't think that, how many photos have you seen, Craig, of Trump with you?
Yeah. Come on.
So here we have this pervert, this child molesting, convicted molester, right? Who's a convicted liar as well. How many counts of fraud? Okay. Come on. This guy who's going to sit up there and pretend that he has honest intentions, that he truly does care about America. And yet everything he does is contrary to what he says. Even the good things he says he's going to do. And the bad things. Getting back to the Afrikaners, he's immediately first day, I'm stopping everybody who comes in. And what has he done since? He's also, those who are already here, who are valid, Afghanis who have been helping America fight that stupid, ridiculous war over there in the first place, who fought side by side, who are legally in this country. He canceled their legal status so that he could give these. We're back to those poor Afrikaners. Craig, I'm so sad for them.
Yeah, heart wrenching.
It's heart wrenching. Did you see them? The looks on their face.
Yeah.
Did they look happy, all excited to be in America?
Thrilled.
They need to go back home. We don't need any more racists. We don't need racists, folks. Come on. Would
We
you
have plenty.
import a murderer, known murderer, drug dealer? Of course not. And Trump's made big news of that. You don't want any of that. So why would he import racists? People who he knows are going to come in here. Oh, I know why. Silly me. He's a racist. Because they're his clan. They're his people. Those are his people. Oh, yeah, by God, by golly, those are his people. And, you know, you can't blame Trump. Look how he was raised. He was raised by racists. And the racist that raised him was raised by a racist, a Nazi. So come on. How can you not see that it's not Trump's fault for being a racist? You see, folks, that's what the problem is in this country, in my opinion. And whenever I'm speaking, please, this isn't no gospel or anything. This is my little shitty opinion. But in my 72 years, and I would say a good 68 of being cognizant of what was going around me, I've experienced racism. Some of it's subtle, some of it's straight up. And I know racism when I see it, period. When I hear it, when I feel it. And Trump is a racist, folks. And he's an opportunist. He does not have any allegiance to anybody, not his wife, not his family. He'd rape his daughter. He'd do whatever's necessary to advance his greed, his need, his lust. So how could anybody support him? Come on, even you greedy Republicans out there who are all about economic, I just need to make as much money because I'm a capitalist and that's the point of it. I get it. Believe me, I get it. You know, God, I was raised a capitalist until I knew better. And then I said, wait a minute, how can we be capitalists when socially we're all dependent upon each other and this government? When I constantly see corporations taking government money, socialism, to bail out so they don't fail, so they don't go bankrupt. That's socialism. So but nonetheless, hey, I don't fight your need, you know, for the greed. I get it. You know, you have to have a purpose in life, and if that's what floats your boat, all right, fine. You got a big boat, I'm sure. Yeah, that's good. However, that unfortunately is at the basis of a lot what's going on. Everybody wants to protect their families. I get it. Craig, you do, right?
Yeah,
Everybody does.
everybody does.
Everybody does. It's common. And they don't want their family to fall victim to what's happening in the world, all the ugly.
Yeah.
So they want to protect it. But elitism based on race, ethnicity, religion, political party, or anything else is, in my opinion, once again, wrong. And I will fight against that. I will talk about it. That is just absolutely wrong. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who tell me, probably out there thinking I'm crazy and full of crap. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. If there's one of you that think I'm not, please continue the conversation. And I hope there's some Republicans out there who are willing to say, hey, according to my ethics and how I was taught to believe, excuse me, per my Judeo-Christian beliefs, this is wrong. And even if you voted for Trump, where's your integrity? What are you going to tell your kids, your grandkids, when they see this and they examine it in a rational light? Unless you raise them to be bigots, like the Trump clan and his daddy, because that's how it happens. We have to quit telling our children, our grandchildren, that there's a distinction between race and color and all this other stuff. There's not. And that's my problem with religion. Not to, get off on something else, but when religion starts to be exclusive, we're the only way to Jesus. We're the only way to God. Nobody else has a way. And for 1 thin dime, 1/10 of a dollar, I'll take you there. I'm sorry. I go off. I know people ask me, yeah, he drinks. No, he smokes. Yeah. Anyway, all right, I gotta shut up because Craig's sitting there.
But when you
all
look at and kind of to dovetail off your point, David, approximately 11 million undocumented immigrants in this immigrants in this country. The only one that we see getting rounded up by ICE are Hispanic people of color. There are 2.2 million undocumented white people. And we import them, as we just did, 50 to 54 South African, mostly Afrikaners, if I'm saying that correctly. When was the last time we saw a raid of white folks? We know the answer to that. So if anybody wants to say, now if ICE wants to say, well, we're unbiased, we just round up we're unbiased, we're not racist. We'd be seeing white folks too. They're just going to go out and round it all up.
And
That's
what
not
crap
what
that is. You know,
Say
there was
again?
that's just a bunch of crap too. Because
Yeah.
there's a young lady, she's in her teens still. I think she's about 18, 19. She was just finishing up her studies, her finals. She's been here since she was 4 years old. Her father was arrested. Her mother's at home. She's undocumented. And they have two other small children who are citizens born here. She was stopped on a bullshit traffic. The traffic was dismissed because it was bullshit. It was an excuse that was used. They said she made an illegal turn, and it was proven she didn't. But that was the excuse made to stop her because she was Mexican. And they put her in jail right now, and they're threatening her to deport her. This is a good American citizen who's been born here, damn near, raised since she was 4. Lived here all her life as far as she knows. This is her home. She's educating herself. Her parents were good, hardworking citizens, wannabes. And they have 2 siblings that are. They're not drug dealers, murderers, psychopaths, or anything else. But to your point, if they were white, they wouldn't have that problem. See, it's their fault.
Right.
It's their fault, Craig. It always comes down to that. It's your fault. You were not born white. You were born, what are you, brown? Look, I mean, do I look brown? I look more pink than anything. I don't know. But, I mean, you get the idea. Espinosa, boom, end of issue, right? So, yeah. Wrong color. You don't pass the color test. That's it. You're the wrong color. I don't care how well you speak English. I don't care where you're at in school. I don't care how many taxes for the last 15, 20 years you've been paying. You're the wrong color. You know, as a painter, I like to paint. Not all that great, but I have fun doing it. Point being, color is important. There's shades of it, and you can blend colors and make different colors. And I mean, it's incredible. Color is important when used appropriately, but not as a gauge of acceptance for whether or not somebody's a human being. That's horrible. You know, that's just horrible. And that's what's happening. But again, Trump is a white bigot. And I know people are afraid, well, you shouldn't say that. No, Trump is a white bigot. We should say it. Let's say it what it is. Let's quit pretending. And the Republican Party is forming itself around white nationalist ideology and folks, if you're not paying attention, please do. They're citing Goebbels, they're citing Hitler. They're using phrases and tactics right out of Mein Kampf. Pay attention, folks. Pay attention. aside from all that, what else is going on? Anybody see any good movies? We make movies. That's right. We made a movie called The Crumbs. And the only reason I bring it up is this. This is about a family that's pretty diverse, how they interact where they're from. About a doctor who's created a serum that will help you live forever. Okay. You won't regress your youth, but you won't get sick. You'll stay exactly like you look. You won't get sick and you won't die. No disease can kill you. Okay. And they'll do whatever it takes to preserve their family. And they do. Now, the film, you can see it on YouTube and Tubi, and I mean, you can see it several other platforms. And it's Rotten Tomatoes. It has what, about a 78, 87% rating, something like that.
91.
91?
91.
91%. And we're not just saying that.
Some might say it's a classic.
The Crumbs. But the reason I bring it up is because it's about preservation of family.
Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself after viewing that film, would you do anything to preserve your family? Because that's what's happening. Make no doubt about it. Trump is trying to preserve his family structure, just like his daddy did, just like his daddy's daddy did. That's one of the whole processes that we go through as human beings, trying to make it better for the rest that come after us. I don't have a problem with that. But there's also a thing called your community. There's also a thing called your integrity, ethics, and morality. Without those things combined in a society, the society is corrupt. Greed surfaces as the dominating factor. Nothing else matters but what I obtain. When that happens, that society collapses. I'm not saying this because I'm some kind of, intellectual giant. This is historic. This has been every civilization that's ever come about. So pay attention, folks, because you got a Caesar at the helm. And I think he's a Caligula. Of all the Caesars, and I've studied a couple of them, I think he's a Caligula. What would you say, Craig?
Oh, I think you're spot on right there. Yeah, I think that'd be a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, God. We know what happened to him, right? We can only wish.
And along those lines, David, people need to take a step out of their safety zone and look at the big picture. I don't want to start repeating parts of what you've said because you've made a lot of really good points. But look at things from an elevation of 35,000 feet and ask the hard questions. What's really going on here? Does this make sense? Rounding up families. What if this was your family? And don't just look at these images from a standpoint, well, isn't that a shame? I feel so badly for them. And then, honey, what's for dinner? You have a family that's lived here for years, getting uprooted. If this was your family, how would you feel? If this was a family down the street from you, and you knew these people for years, and they got uprooted. This is bullshit that is going on in this country. And I'm going to label this, in this case, Hispanic folks, because I don't see any people that look like me. Yet there are 2 million people that look like me that should be rounded up as well. But I'm a white guy, so I can sleep at night. That's fucked up. That's not right. So how, as a society of people, can we just all universally say this is acceptable? Like what David was saying, you know, sending out postcards, calling your Congress representative. I see I've frozen, but my voice hasn't frozen. And that's another thing. Your voice never freezes, even though maybe I've frozen on screen. You can't freeze my voice. There, I'm back. I might be frozen, but I'm back. But in addition to that, and you've heard me say this before, you know, attend local town hall meetings, local peaceful protest rallies, and they're not difficult to find. You can just simply, literally Google peaceful protest rallies in my area, and they will pop up. And I'll admit, the first one I went to, when I got there, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't even have a sign. You know, what do I do? And this woman helped me. She provided a sign for me. And yeah, you know, and I thought it's kind of like the obvious. And I feel like my first day of school, that like everybody knew what they were doing, but I didn't. Then I realized so many people were just like me, that it was their first day there. And these aren't like, because when I would see these images of people at these protest rallies, it's like they're all professional, like they know what they're doing. No, but there are people like me. They love our country, and they're upset, they're angered by what is going on. And this is their way of getting out there and expressing themselves and taking action and doing something, as compared to saying at home, like, this is bullshit and I should do something. Yeah, they're getting off the couch and doing something. So like what David said, and I agree that, you know, you can do something, and certainly getting involved that way. And I don't want to, you know, just talk endlessly here, but I would really encourage getting out and attend town hall meetings and attend peaceful protest rallies, because it is important, the visual optics, getting out there and being out there, and you really have this sense in attending these rallies afterwards that you are contributing. And it is important to take action, if not now, when. That you look at the folks that were at the Boston Tea Party, if people 250 years ago, if they decided, let's stay home and instead of going out there, let's just stay home and drink tea. Well, maybe it would be under English rules still to this day, who knows? But, you know, it's just important that we do step up and don't succumb to this nonsense.
You know, you bring to mind, I love films and I watch a lot of movies. Okay. There was a film I saw one time I really loved. It's called The Book Thief. And it takes place near the end of World War II in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about the Allied forces bombing the shit out of Germany, just destroying Berlin and everything, and all the communities surrounding this entire area. And the irony was that the story was centered around a little girl who wanted to read books, but books were banned. They were banned. Any type of book that wasn't authorized by the government was banned, and books were hard to get. Now, remember, everything's blown out, just blown away. A lot of people stood by in Germany and passively resisted. As Craig was talking about, they would talk amongst themselves about, oh, that's just so bad. Oh, that's so terrible. They shouldn't do that. But they would do nothing about it. They would quietly protest to themselves and amongst each other and do nothing about it. They wouldn't write a letter. They wouldn't make a phone call. They wouldn't go to a protest. They would quietly, passively complain and do nothing about it. And then when they started getting the hell bombed out of them, and they didn't have, and that's what this movie is about. It's right at that time period. They had no milk. They had no food, nothing. They were starving to death because the Allied forces were destroying them. And it was about how some of those people felt.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't start that war. They didn't want that war.
Mm-hmm.
They knew it wasn't right, but they stood by and they did nothing about it. So don't be that person. How do you do something about it? Well, maybe what we're doing, Craig and I, is maybe it's a futile exercise. I don't know, and maybe not. As I said, if there's one person out there who says, "Yes, I can be heard. I can do something about it. I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to go to a protest rally," then our point is not futile and our time hasn't been wasted.
Right.
So please think about what's happening right now.
Be that one person.
Be that one person. There you go, Craig.
Make our day.
Yeah. Hey, and if you want to join us. Come on. We welcome anybody. You don't have to agree with us. As a matter of fact, we would love a Republican representative, somebody who has enough integrity about their position that they feel they are justified in stating it. And come on down. We will not yell at you. I will talk to you as a civil human being. But don't come to me with rhetoric. Don't come to me with any type of bigotry. Just tell me why you feel the way you feel without the hate. Because if you're going to go, the Civil War wasn't fair, damn it. And they should have never done that to my great-grandpappy. Well, if you're going to come at me that way, we're not going to have a conversation.
That's not going to go so well.
That's not going to work. I want to know you're already screwed up. You need to go back to where you were.
That's not going to go well.
Yeah. I learned something as an actor once. A director told me, Dave, you don't bring snow to Alaska.
No.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, take a stand to the beach and don't do it.
Yeah, that's not going to go.
Not going to go. So please join with us again. If you would like to come on the show, please do. If not, I understand. In that case, please watch our movies.
Yes.
We have our films: The Evil Down the Street, The Crumbs, Demon Fighter, and Love in Quarantine. And what platforms can they see them on, Craig?
They can see them on Tubi, YouTube, Plex, and Fossum. They're free with ads, and they're wonderful. And those would be the platforms. So
yeah, I agree. Making movies is not an easy.
We worked hard on those films, and David directed his ass off. We had to put up with some
proof, no but.
That's right. And so there you go. So support some actors, some great crew, and two old ass guys. So it's a wonderful cause.
Yeah, and I have to say this: the actors. In every film we did, it was the actors. The actors were awesome. Our technicians, incredible. Our camera guys, incredible. It's an equal plane. One unit out of place, the whole thing goes sideways.
Oh, boy.
And we're not Spielberg and all of that, but we think they're decent films. We're proud of them. We appreciate if you watch them, and please critique them. Tell us if you think it's crap. I get it. Send some toilet tissue. We'll try to clean it up. If you think it's pretty good and you think it's something you would send to somebody else, we'll send a ribbon and we'll send them a present. Okay. Appreciate your time. It's been good talking to you today out here on the porch. And please join us again. All righty. Peace.
Bye, all.
You're my everything. I love you more than these material things. Fast cars and them diamond blings. Girl, you are my everything. Baby, you're my everything. I love you more than